Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back in today with another fantasy football video. Today's video is the Week 8 waiver wire ads. Now, I think this week there are a lot of guys that you can find off the waiver wire that are going to be pretty good and guys that you can actually play this week. Not too many guys that you're going to be stashing and waiting long term for due to injuries to a lot of the big running backs. Now, before I get in the video, I'd like to give you guys a word from my sponsor, Overlay DFS. Play that now. Alright guys, so how Overlay DFS works is all you have to do is make 12 simple start-sit decisions. Are you going to go with Russell Wilson versus Deshaun Watson, Jared Goff, or Tom Brady? Who is going to score the most points in that matchup? All you got to do is make 12 picks. It is that simple. So now I'm going to go about how I do it. What I typically do is I like to go for games in here where there are stacks. So say in this game, you see at the wide receiver position, I think DeAndre Hopkins scores more than Michael Thomas, per se. So I go with Deshaun Watson as well. Now you have stacked them. It's like in those other DFS sites where you stack the players. I'm going to stack those players because I believe they are going to do great together. Now, with this, I'm going to make a total of 12 total picks plus 3 alternate picks. Now, the way this works is it used to be a single entry GPP. Now, in these, you can add up to 10 maximum entries, and the top 10% win 9 times your buy-in. It is actually amazing. And then if you hit that beautiful 12 and you can get the progressive bonus in the $2 game of over $3,000. Now, if you're playing in some of those bigger games, the progressive bonus is over $27,000. That is going to be huge for you to hit if you can hit that, and I think you can. Now, you guys are going to come play against me, come compete with me. Let's see who's smarter, me or you. Likely is going to be you. So let's play together. Let's hit that 12-0 record bonus there, and the stars are going to align, and it's going to be amazing for you. Let's have some fun this week. Check out overlaydfs.com, link down below in the description. You're going to have a great time. Play the rest of the video now. And we are back, Week 8 waiver wire ads. All right, the first guy to talk about here is Chase Edmonds, running back of the Arizona Cardinals. This week, I think he is going to be an amazing play. With or without David Johnson, he is going to perform, and he's only owned in 17.5% on NFL.com. Now, some reports will tell you David Johnson's going to be in this week. Some reports will tell you that he's going to be out this week. Every report said David Johnson was in last week, and you saw what he did. He took a shit on your lineup. He scored like zero point 0.2 points. That is embarrassing. I think this week, regardless of if David Johnson is in the game, Chase Edmonds is going to absolutely eat in this game. Now, his game stats have been good for the last 3 weeks, and these games all involve David Johnson being part of the game. Week 5 against the Cincinnati Bengals, 8 touches for 65 yards and 1 touchdown, as well as 3 receptions for 18 yards for 17.6 PPR points. That is a top week for a running back, a pretty solid week. Week 6 against the Atlanta Falcons, 5 touches for 34 yards and 2 targets for 33 yards and 1 touchdown for 14.7 PPR points. Another solid week. And week 7, with David Johnson pretty much being useless in the game. 27 touches against the Giants for 136 yards and 3 touchdowns, as well as 2 receptions for 24 yards for 35 PPR points. That is a humongous game out of Chase Edmonds, one of the top running backs on the week with David Johnson active. Now, guys, I really do not think that David Johnson will be active this week going up against the Saints. I think this is going to be a high-scoring matchup, and I think that Chase Edmonds might fuck around and be a top 5 back this week. Next running back to speak about here is Ty Johnson, running back of the Detroit Lions, owned in 0.3% on NFL.com. Now, he outsnapped J.D. McKissick last week, 49-19. He outcarried J.D. McKissick 10-5. He out-targeted J.D. McKissick 4-3. He got more receptions than JD 4-2, more red zone carries 3-1, and more red zone targets 1-0. So to me, it looks like Ty Johnson might be the clear back here. Even with that said, I think JD McKissick may be worth a roster spot in a deeper type of league, but personally, I would go for Ty Johnson. The Week 7 numbers, to me, speak for themselves, even though J.D. McKissick may be the better back and the more proven back, given that Ty Johnson is a rookie in the NFL, and J.D. McKissick has been playing for a couple of years. Next running back to speak about here is Latavius Murray, running back of the New Orleans Saints. Now, he's owned in 73.9% of leagues, so obviously he's not a guy that most of you guys are going to be able to get. Most of my subscribers are guys that are in more competitive leagues. People always comment about, Nick, you fucking idiot, these guys aren't available in my league, you fucking asshole, you just screwed me over. But, I mean, I think that this guy is obviously going to be owned in a lot of your leagues, so it is going to be hard to go out and get him if you didn't get him last week. Now, he played amazing last week against a tough Chicago defense without Kamara. 27 rushes for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as 5 receptions for 31 yards for 32 PPR points. Those are huge numbers coming out of Latavius Murray. And then, if Kamara misses even more time, you'll be able to start him for the next couple of weeks. Now, some doctors are saying Latavius Murray is fine. Other doctors are saying he's going to be out for the next couple of weeks. So, got to keep that in mind. I think personally, Latavius Murray should be good to go for the next probably 1 or 2 weeks. I think Alvin Kamara does miss some more time. Now onto the wide receivers. My number one wide receiver for this week, due to his safety, he's just super safe. Auden Tate, wide receiver of the Cincinnati Bengals, only owned in 14% of leagues on NFL.com. Now that has went up. Last week when I made the video, it was about 2%. Now up to 14%. That's up 12%. So people are catching their eye on Mr. Auden Tate. Now likely no AJ Green this week, and John Ross will be out for a couple more weeks. He has had 5 good games in a row now. Week 3 against the Buffalo Bills, 6 for 10 and 88 yards for 12.8 PPR points. Week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 4 of 6, I should say, for 50 yards and 9 PPR points. Week 5 against the Arizona Cardinals, 3 for 6 and 26 yards with a touchdown, 11.6 PPR points. Week 6 against a tougher Ravens defense, 5 for 12 and 91 yards for 14.1 PPR points. And last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 3 for 6 for 65 yards and 9.5 PPR points. So he's definitely been consistent every single week, averaging around 10 PPR points. He's a guy that you can definitely slot into your lineup pretty much every single week, no matter how god-awful the Cincinnati Bengals look. Auden Tate seems to be able to be the one sole survivor on that team that you will be able to start every single week. Next wideout to talk about here is Preston Williams, wide receiver of the Miami Dolphins, owned in 2.6% on NFL.com. Now, I know Preston Williams developed that solid connection with Mr. Josh Rosen, the chosen one, but now, he's going to be playing with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He averages just under 10 points per game in PPR this season. Week 7 with Ryan Fitzpatrick, who will be the starter again next week when he played against Buffalo. 6 receptions on 8 targets for 82 yards, 12.2 PPR points. So if Preston Williams finds the end zone, that is a humongous game for Preston Williams. 18 PPR points if he found the end zone. I think he's going to be more of a red zone target looking down the stretch here, especially with Mike Gesicki not really performing all that well. And Preston Williams seems to be a guy that can burn you down the field. Next wideout is also from the Miami Dolphins. That is Devontae Parker, wide receiver of the Miami Dolphins, owned at only 1% on NFL.com. Now, he has been performing the last 3 weeks pretty solid. Week 4 against the LA Chargers, 4 for 4, like it's at fucking Wendy's, for 70 yards and 1 touchdown, 17 PPR points. Week 6 against the Washington Redskins, 3 of 4 for 28 yards and 1 touchdown, 11.8 PPR points. Week 7 against the Buffalo Bills, 5 of 10 for 55 yards and 1 touchdown, 16.5 PPR points. And you know what I see? I see a bit of consistency here because we see 1 touchdown in all 3 of those games. I think that is something, obviously, that's going to be hard to keep happening and to sustain. But I think if you see him being that guy that he's targeting in the end zone, that Ryan Fitzpatrick is throwing the ball to in the end zone, I think that he could definitely be solid every week for fantasy football. Now we are on to the final wide receiver here. So before I give you this wide receiver, I'd like to ask you guys, could please go down below and click that subscribe button if you have enjoyed the video thus far. So this wide receiver, I should say, is A.J. Brown, wide receiver of the Tennessee Titans, owned in 4.5% on NFL.com. Now he has a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill. Marcus Mariota is god awful. They are regretting drafting Mr. Mariota a couple of years ago, just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers may be regretting drafting famous Jameis in the exact same draft class. Now, A.J. Brown performed great last week against the Chargers with Tannehill playing at quarterback. 6 of 8 for 64 yards, 12.2 PPR points. Now, a couple of weeks ago, A.J. Brown was a guy I said that might be okay to pick off the waiver wire. Now, I think with Ryan Tannehill having the reins on the team, I think that A.J. Brown will actually be pretty consistent every single week. Ryan Tannehill, you've seen in the past, was pretty consistent on the Dolphins with providing a receiver and throwing the ball to those receivers and giving them solid points. Devontae Parker and Kenny Stills of the last couple of years, I think that definitely A.J. Brown is a guy to look for and is a guy that not a lot of people are going to be looking to pick up this week. Now onto the tight ends is Eric Ebron, tight end of the Indianapolis Colts. Now he is owned in 51.9% of leagues on NFL.com. While he has been quite touchdown dependent this season, he has been performing well. 8.6 PPR points per game. There are a lot of other tight ends that you're going to be picking up, guys that may end up putting up a goose egg straight into your lineup. Now, week 7 against Houston, he went 4 of 5 for 70 yards and 1 touchdown, 17 PPR points. Now, the Colts offense seems to be more prone to throw the ball with T.Y. Hilton back. And now I think T.Y. Hilton will be healthy for the remainder of the season, or at least he should be, and they're going to be throwing the rock a lot more, so I like Eric Ebron for the rest of the season. Now onto the final tight end, and that is Mr. Chris Herndon, tight end of the New York Football Jets, owned in 7.6% on NFL.com. Now, he may be back in action this week against the Jaguars. Am I 100% sure? No. Am I 50% sure? No. I'm not too sure he will be in for this game, but even if he isn't, he's a guy that you can definitely stash and be able to play the next couple of weeks when they're playing against some soft defenses. He had a solid connection with Sam Darnold last year. In the games where him and Sam were playing together, you seem to see some solid points out of both of those guys. I think Chris Herndon is definitely a safety valve for Sam Darnold, who last night against the Patriots was seeing ghosts. Sam Darnold played god awful. That was one of the worst performances by a quarterback in mankind. That may go down as one of the worst performances in NFL history. It was fucking embarrassing. So thank you guys all for watching this video. If at any point you enjoyed, make sure to click that subscribe button down below. Make sure to check out the live stream that may be happening right now as you're watching the video. So click off that shit. Go watch the live stream. Have a great rest of your day. I love you all. Goodbye.